Less than an hour away from a meeting tonight where Appleton's Parks and Recreation Committee could vote on a resolution changing the name of a park to honor veterans. Jason Zimmerman has a preview of what is expected. He's live at Appleton City Hall. Jason.
Kami, that meeting is scheduled to start at 6 o'clock. This resolution, if passed, would change the name of Appleton Memorial Park to Veterans Memorial Park. It would also create a central place to display monuments, plaques, and other items honoring those who served in the U.S. military. This is the space right now dedicated to honor veterans at Appleton Memorial Park, but it's likely to expand if the council passes a resolution making its way through the Parks and Recreation Committee.
I think it's a great idea. Certainly other communities have a Veterans Park that showcases the various past history of veterans in their community.
Jack Voigt is among the local veterans pushing to have the area renamed as Veterans Memorial Park. If that happens, it would replace the existing Veterans Park on South Memorial Drive.
The current Veterans Park is really not conducive to any kind of gatherings. It's got 2 parking stalls and a porta potty. It's just there's no functionality to that Veterans Park. So that's why I'm excited about this one.
The resolution would also relocate some memorials and plaques to the park and add memorials for recent conflicts that right now don't exist in the city. Voigt says this could take place based upon community feedback and looking at projects elsewhere in Wisconsin.
For example, Eau Claire has a great Veterans Park. They need to go out among the different communities and see what they have done for veterans, and then come together and say, this is the plan. They need a comprehensive plan to honor veterans in our community.
Again, tonight's meeting starts at 6 o'clock. If the resolution moves forward, the full council could vote on it at their very next meeting. Reporting live in Appleton, Jason Zimmerman, Action 2 News.
Jason.